All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today we are talking all about AI, especially this new player, DeepSeek AI.
Oh, yeah, DeepSeek.
Yeah, it's been making some noise, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So could this be the free ChatGPT alternative everyone's been waiting for?
Well, maybe.
We'll see.
No?
Our main source for this deep dive is a recent article called DeepSeek AI. What is it, how it works, and is it better than ChatGPT? Everything to know.
Catchy title.
It is. Okay, so let's get right into it. What is DeepSeek AI?
Well, it's a Chinese startup.
Okay.
It was founded in May 2023, but it really didn't start getting a lot of attention till like early 2025. And one of the things that makes it so different from ChatGPT is that it's completely free.
Yeah, that's a big selling point, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT had all these paid tiers now.
Right, yeah.
So free is always good. And it's not just like, some small little project that nobody's heard of. It's been topping the iPhone App Store charts.
A lot of people are trying it out.
People are really checking it out.
Yeah.
So besides the fact that it's free, what is it that's drawing people to DeepSeek?
Well, they've got two main models, DeepSeek V3, which is their general purpose model, and then DeepSeek R1, which is specifically focused on reasoning. And they design both models to be very efficient.
Okay, so efficient and free. Sounds pretty good so far.
It does.
But let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. How does DeepSeek actually work?
Well, they use a really interesting architecture. It's called Mixture of Experts, or MOE. So imagine you're reading a book, right? You don't need your entire brain to be focused on like solving complex math equations at that moment.
Right.
MOE works in a similar way. So basically it means that instead of using all of the model's parameters for every single task, only the most relevant parts are actually activated.
Oh, okay. So it's like focusing your brain power only on the parts you need for a specific task.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
That makes sense.
Right.
So does that limited activation, though, like affect its ability to learn and improve over time?
No, not at all. It actually learns through a trial and error process.
Okay, interesting.
Kind of like we do. And that means that it can constantly refine its responses.
So it's constantly evolving and learning from its mistakes, which is pretty important.
Yeah, it's not static, it's dynamic.
Okay. So you mentioned DeepSeek R1 is specifically focused on reasoning. How do you actually use that model?
Well, it's actually very user-friendly. You can access it through their website or their mobile app.
Okay.
And when you first start using it, you'll automatically be on the V3 model.
Okay.
But you can very easily switch to DeepSeek R1 if you need more complex reasoning capabilities.
Okay, so for like everyday questions and tasks, V3 has you covered.
Right.
But when you need to delve a little deeper, R1's just a click away.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the actual user experience when switching between the two? Like, is it a noticeable difference?
Yeah, you'll notice that R1 takes a few seconds longer to process your request.
Okay.
But that's because it's really taking the time to kind of think things through.
Mm-hmm.
It will actually give you step-by-step explanations, particularly for questions that involve like math or logic.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's not just giving you an answer. It's showing its work.
Exactly.
That can be very helpful. All right, so now the big question everyone wants to know. How does DeepSeek stack up against the current AI champ, ChatGPT?
Well, DeepSeek's accuracy is pretty impressive. I mean, it can definitely hold its own in that regard.
Okay.
But ChatGPT does have a wider array of features right now. Like it can generate AI images.
Right.
And it can integrate with tools like Canva.
Okay. Yeah.
And it even has image analysis capabilities, and you can even use your voice with it.
Okay, so ChatGPT is more of like a multi-tool then.
Yeah.
Whereas DeepSeek's maybe a little more specialized.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So, but in terms of like their core functions, like, answering questions, generating code, things like that, how do they compare?
They actually perform pretty similarly in those areas.
Okay.
And importantly, they both have web search capabilities.
Yeah.
So you're getting up-to-date information.
So both are powerful in their own way, it seems. But for people trying to decide between the two, like, what are the key differences they should keep in mind?
Well, ChatGPT offers a lot more features, and you can create your own personalized GPTs, which are basically customized versions of the model.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you can really fine-tune it to what you need.
Exactly, yeah. But DeepSeek's biggest advantage is that it's free.
Right.
And it also has much cheaper APIs.
Oh, okay, the APIs. Can you break that down for us a little bit? Like, what does that actually mean?
Sure. So APIs are basically what developers use to integrate AI models into their own software or apps.
Okay.
And DeepSeek's API pricing is super low, like around 55 cents per million input tokens
Okay.
and 2.19 per million output tokens.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that is way cheaper than OpenAI.
Way cheaper than OpenAI.
Okay,
So that's a big selling point, especially for developers.
it is.
So it really comes down to, like, what are your priorities, right?
It does.
If you need something free and straightforward, DeepSeek's a good option.
It is.
But if you want more features,
Yeah.
customization, ChatGPT might be the way to go.
Right.
All right, so lots to consider. This explosion of AI tools is really shaking things up, isn't it?
It really is.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Okay, so we've covered kind of the basics of what DeepSeek is, how it works, how it compares to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But what about the actual experience of using it?
Well, besides the price, a lot of people are drawn to DeepSeek because it's really user-friendly,
Okay, good.
even for people who don't have a lot of AI experience.
That's a big deal. Like, the more user-friendly it is, the more
Yeah.
people are going to adopt it.
Right.
What other kind of feedback are you seeing? What are people saying about it?
Well, I've seen a lot of positive feedback about its ability to handle like really complex coding tasks,
Okay, so developers are liking it.
especially developers. Yeah, they seem to be really impressed with its accuracy and its speed in that area.
That's great.
And then there's this growing community of users who are like sharing tips and tutorials.
Oh, cool.
They're even creating like creative projects using DeepSeek.
Oh, wow. What kind of projects are we talking about?
All kinds of stuff. People are using it to write poetry, create scripts, even generate musical pieces. It seems like the possibilities are endless.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's really kind of tapping into that creative potential
Yeah.
of AI and making it accessible to more people.
It is, yeah. It's really democratizing access to AI.
That's pretty exciting. Okay, so we've established that it's user-friendly. People are really getting into it, using it for all sorts of cool stuff. But let's go back to the technical side for a minute.
Okay.
We talked about the MOE architecture earlier.
Yeah.
Are there any other technical innovations that set DeepSeek apart?
Well, one of the things that makes it so efficient is its ability to process information in parallel.
Oh, God.
So it can handle multiple tasks at the same time without slowing down.
So it's like having multiple processors all working at the same time.
Yeah, basically. And that's one of the reasons why it can generate responses so quickly, even for complicated tasks.
So it's efficient in terms of energy use, but it's also efficient in terms of time,
Yeah, exactly.
which is great. Nobody wants to wait around forever for, response.
Right.
So, and this focus on efficiency extends to their data centers too. They've really optimized their infrastructure to reduce energy consumption and be more environmentally friendly.
Yeah, sustainability is very important to them.
That's great. It's good to see that they're taking that seriously.
Yeah.
All right, so before we move on, I want to touch back on the cost of using DeepSeek's APIs. You said it was much cheaper than OpenAI's,
It is, yeah.
which is a huge plus for developers, obviously.
Yeah.
But can you give us some concrete examples of how that cost difference might actually play out in the real world?
Sure. So let's say, for example, you're a small startup and you're developing an educational app that uses AI to provide personalized feedback to students.
Okay.
Using DeepSeek's APIs, you could potentially develop and launch that app at a fraction of the cost.
Wow. Okay. So it could really be a game changer for a lot of companies then.
It could, yeah. It could mean the difference between a startup being able to afford to launch their product or not.
Right.
And it could lead to a lot more innovation, a wider range of AI-powered applications.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
We've explored what DeepSeek is, how it works, some of its key advantages. We've even touched on its potential impact on the future of AI. It's a really exciting development, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah. It's definitely one to watch.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get back into DeepSeek. Where were we?
Right, we were talking about all this cool new AI stuff.
Yeah, and how DeepSeek is kind of like shaking things up.
Totally. Okay, so we know it can do a lot. But how about we look at some specific scenarios? Like, what about creative writing? They can both generate text, but how do they differ?
Yeah, DeepSeek being the newer model, it's really good at adapting, like different writing styles, tones of voice. It's almost like a chameleon. But ChatGPT, it's been around longer, right? It's got that experience, trained on so much data.
Yeah, so DeepSeek's the quick study.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Can ChatGPT is like the wise old sage.
The sage, exactly.
Okay, I like that. So what about translation? Do they both handle multiple languages?
Yeah, they do. They both do. DeepSeek supports a lot of languages, which is great, even some of the less common ones. But ChatGPT seems to be a little bit better at, like the nuances of translation. like those cultural references, idioms, things like that.
Yeah, those little things that get lost in translation sometimes.
Exactly.
So DeepSeek's the polyglot,
Right.
and ChatGPT's the cultural ambassador.
The ambassador, yeah.
Okay, I'm liking these little nicknames.
Me too.
Okay, so what about summarizing large chunks of text? We all have so much to read these days, right?
Yeah, information overload.
Yeah. So how do they compare?
Well, DeepSeek's really good at extracting key information and doing it quickly. Like, imagine having a really efficient research assistant.
Okay.
But ChatGPT, sometimes it adds a little more analysis. So depending on what you're looking for, it can be helpful or distracting.
Oh, so DeepSeek's like the laser-focused summarizer, just the facts.
Yeah, just the facts.
ChatGPT's more of a thought partner.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so we've talked about writing, translation, summarizing. Any other use cases that come to mind?
Well, how about coding?
Yeah, coding. Big one these days.
Yeah. Both of them, DeepSeek and ChatGPT, they can generate and debug code, which is really helpful. But DeepSeek, it seems to be better with less common programming languages, even some really niche ones.
Yeah.
Whereas ChatGPT has more knowledge of like the popular frameworks and libraries.
So DeepSeek's the polyglot coder,
The polyglot coder.
and ChatGPT's the mainstream coding guru.
There you go.
Okay. So it sounds like they both have their areas of specialization, right?
Right, yeah.
Which makes choosing between them trickier. So it's not just about, like, which one is better.
No, it's not that simple.
It's more about which one is better for what I needed to do.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so we've seen what they can do, but are there any limitations? What challenges might DeepSeek face?
Well, anytime you have a new AI model, it takes time for it to build trust. ChatGPT's had a head start there. It's been tested more. It's got that track record.
So DeepSeek needs to prove itself.
Yeah, it does. And from a technical perspective, it's still working on some of the more nuanced language tasks, like understanding sarcasm or humor.
Yeah, those are the hard ones for AI.
Exactly. But they are making progress. Now, thinking more broadly, DeepSeek's commitment to free access, that's a big deal. It really challenges the idea that this powerful technology should only be available to, those who can afford it.
It's like democratizing AI, right?
Yeah.
Opens up so many possibilities. Education, research, even the arts could really level the playing field.
Yeah, imagine that. But of course, with more access comes more responsibility. We need to be careful.
Right. What kind of concerns are we talking about?
Well, there's the potential for misuse, right? As AI gets more powerful, it could be used for bad things, like spreading misinformation.
Oh, yeah, like we've seen with AI-generated text.
Exactly. So we need to be thinking about ethical guidelines, having those conversations now.
Okay, so innovation is great, but we need to be responsible about it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of ground again in this part of our deep dive. We've looked at specific uses for both DeepSeek and ChatGPT, their strengths, their weaknesses, and we've even touched on some of the broader implications of DeepSeek coming onto the scene.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story. DeepSeek's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. All right, welcome back to our deep dive on DeepSeek AI.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about its text-based capabilities,
Yeah, a lot of text stuff.
but now we're getting visual.
Ooh, visual.
It's time to talk about AI image generation.
That's right.
What's DeepSeek doing in this space?
Well, they've recently unveiled their own image generation model,
Okay.
and it's generating a lot of buzz.
Oh, buzz, huh?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, one thing that makes DeepSeek's model different is its ability to create super realistic images.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, incredibly detailed.
Like, how realistic are we talking?
Like almost indistinguishable from a photograph.
Whoa! Okay, I'm picturing this in my head. That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
How do they do that?
Well, they've incorporated some pretty advanced techniques into their model.
Okay.
It allows them to capture like subtle textures, lighting effects, even emotions.
Oh, wow. Emotions in the image.
It's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI image generation.
So it's not just about creating an image, it's about creating an image that feels real, like it has depth.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool. So what are some potential applications for this? Like, where would this be used?
Well, you could think about like graphic designers using it to create really stunning visuals for their marketing campaigns.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Architects could use it to visualize different building designs.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Even filmmakers could use it to create special effects for movies. I mean, there are tons of possibilities.
Wow, so many possibilities. It's like having an AI art team at your disposal.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So how does it compare to some of the other popular tools out there, like Midjourney, DLE2?
It's still early, but it's already holding its own. Its focus on realism and detail is a real advantage.
Especially in fields where accuracy is important.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's finding its niche. That's good.
Yeah.
But with this level of realism, we got to talk about the ethical considerations with it,
Yeah.
especially with AI-generated images.
Absolutely.
Things like copyright, misinformation, deepfakes. These are real concerns.
Yeah.
Because if AI can create images that look that real,
Yeah.
we need to be careful how they're used.
Right.
So what do we do?
Well, we need to have those conversations, developers, policymakers, the public, everyone needs to be involved.
Yeah, open discussions about the ethics of using this technology.
And come up with guidelines, safeguards.
Make sure it's being used responsibly. So it's a powerful tool. It has amazing potential, but we got to use it wisely.
For sure.
Okay, so where does DeepSeek go from here? What are they looking at next?
Well, they're really committed to making AI accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
And they're continuing to expand their capabilities, pushing the boundaries of AI in general.
So they're not just stopping with text and images.
Nope. They're looking at things like natural language understanding, machine learning, even robotics.
Oh, wow, robotics. Okay, so they're thinking big.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
Well, I got to say, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've learned so much about DeepSeek AI, from its unique technology to its ambitious goals. What's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is evolving incredibly fast, and it's becoming more and more accessible every day.
And DeepSeek is a great example of that.
Right.
They're really pushing the boundaries and making AI available to a wider audience, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
It has the power to change so much.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for taking this deep dive with us. We hope you found it as fascinating as we did. Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of tech.